Again, always read the instructions before you answer a question. Before you start solving, you want to read the instructions. So here it says solve by substitution. As we know, we have many methods of solving, including graphing, which we did a few times, including elimination. And this one, we have to explicitly solve it using substitution. We've done a few of these. In the videos, you'll find more examples like these. So first, when you use substitution, we need to have one of the variables by itself. One of these has to be isolated before we can plug it or substitute it. So look at the two equations and decide which variable you want to substitute, you want to isolate in which equation. So usually go to the y, go to the variable that's by itself. For example, the y here is by itself. It will be easier to isolate it. We just need to move this to the other side. Okay, we can get this y by itself simply by moving 2x to the other side. What happens to 2x if you move it to the other side?
Negative.
That's right. I'm going to switch the sign. So we're going to move this over. So isolate. If you don't have a variable that's already isolated, so isolate one of the variables. I need to write better. So isolate one of the variables. Again, this one seems easy to isolate, but you can isolate any of these. So it turns into plus y. And 2x, if you move it to the other side, becomes negative 2x. And you can ignore the 0 because 2x plus 0 will be just 2x. The other one, you don't have to do anything to the other one. Just substitute one variable in one equation. Okay, now that we have one variable by itself, the variable that we just isolated, or if it's already isolated, needs to be plugged into the other equation in lieu or instead of the other variable. Okay, so we're going to go to equation 2. So this is equation 1. Equation 2. So the first step was to isolate. Now we're going to sub. Okay, substitute y in equation 2. This is equation 2. So once we plug this into this, we will be easier to solve this equation because we will have only one variable. We'll have only x. We'll have x here and x here instead of x and y. Okay, so we'll be, let's focus on equation number 2. So 4 times x minus 2 times y. What is y equal to? So y we know is this. Just negative 2x. We don't have to put 0, negative 2x.
Right.
And so the equation, the rest stays the same, equals 0. So this is basically, again, this is y. So we put y in here. So instead of the y, we put its value, which is negative 2x. So the advantage of this is you get an equation with the same variable, only x here. Instead of x and y, we only have x. Now we can solve this one easily for x. Okay, what do you do first to solve this equation for x?
The parentheses.
That's right. We need to multiply. We need to clear the parentheses, so we're going to distribute this. So for x, we have a negative 2 times negative 2x. What's the result?
Positive 4x.
Positive 4x plus 2. Let me continue here. What else happens here? Can combine these two, right? Will be
8x.
That's right, 8x. 2. Finally, we divide by?
Divided by 8.
Right, divide both by 8. So x is 1/4, right? If you reduce this, you get 1/4.
Yeah.
So that's part of the solution, but the solution is a system. So the solution is a pair. You have to find x and y, both of them. That's what the solution is. When you solve, system should give you a solution as a pair of solutions. If there is one, sometimes there is no solution. That's the first part. So isolate, we did. Sub y in equation 2, and we solved. Okay, and so solve. Now, third step is to find what? What do you find now? We have x. What's missing?
Y.
Y. So find y. How do you find y using x? How do you find y? So we're going to go to the system. Which one of these is easier to find y? You have two equations. We can use either one, but since we're looking for one for y, which one looks convenient to find y?
The top one.
Say it again.
The top one.
The top one, that's right. Equation 1, because it already has y isolated, so it's easier. We're just going to need the value of x, which we know. Plug it into this, and we're done. If you use this one, it would be a lot of work. If we decided to use this, you'll have to. Can you? Someone has background noise or too much stuff. Please mute your mic. So this one is easier to use. So plug x, this one, into this equation 1, which is easier to use. Okay, so we're going to say y equals -2. -2 times what? What goes inside the parentheses?
1/4.
That's right, the 1/4. The 0 is insignificant, so basically we took this, plug x into equation 1. And this is the x. The value of x is this, so it goes into, so basically the x came from here, and we plugged it into that. Now we just need to simplify this a little bit. Okay, if you reduce this by 2, what do you get? -1 and 2, right? 2 into 2 once, 2 into 4 twice. What's the result?
1/2.
That's right, -1/2. Okay, so once you have your x, then you have your y. That's it. As we said here, that's the system. You can put them together if you want. You can write the solution as S. And you can put the pairs into parentheses. Which one do we write first?
The x.
The x, that's right, 1/4. Followed by the other number, which is -1/2. And that's basically it. That's the solution. You can check the solution if you plug it into the system. The first one, not these. It should work for both. If you plug it here, it should give you 2 equal sides. If you plug the same solution here, it should give you 2 equal sides, because it's basically it's an intersection of these 2 lines. So this point belongs to both of these lines. So you should check out with both, because the lines meet. If you graph the 2 lines, they will meet here in this. That point will be the solution. This point here, the intersection, is a solution. Line 1, for example, line 2 for equation 2. So this we solved by substitution. Sometimes the problem will ask you, as we did multiple times before, it will ask you to solve using graphing. If you graph, the solution will also be the same as this point. Okay, refer to the videos. I've posted plenty of these in the videos. You'll see those, all the different methods, including graphing, elimination, and this one is substitution. Okay, does that make sense, everybody?
Yes.
Everyone in the room?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. So again, let's recap the main steps. Isolate one of the variables. If it's not already isolated, if you're lucky, you could find one of the variables by itself. You just plug it into the other equation. Substitute the variable that's by itself and solve the resulting equation. But you still need to find the other variable. You find that using the variable that you just solved for, and you get your 2 solutions like this. So the system is done. All right, so that was question number What was it again, Lydia? Was it 29?
That was 27.
27.